Let's bring in our regular US and international affairs expert, James Brown, non-resident fellow at the US Studies Centre. James, new outbreaks we're seeing in Florida, soaring numbers in Florida, Texas, California. This has huge health implications, obviously, but political ones too. When you look at Texas right now, this looks like it's competitive in the presidential race.
Well, the Biden campaign has started placing advertisements there, in part to foster that narrative that for the first time Texas could actually be in play, but also because the response to the coronavirus there has been so bad. The Texas governor's approval ratings plunged by 20 points this week. There's a broad recognition that not nearly enough has been done to stem the flow of coronavirus transmission, and the Democrats are sensing an opportunity there.
4 million cases confirmed, more than 143,000 deaths. How central is it to the presidential election, which is a bit over 100 days from now?
Look, it's playing out in so many interesting ways. I mean, the dynamic between Dr Fauci and the president in the last day or so has been causing Republicans in the House to turn on each other. So Republican Matt Gaetz from Florida has been publicly criticising Liz Cheney, the highest-ranking Republican woman in the House, over her support for Fauci. It's become one of those litmus tests. Do you support Fauci or do you support the president? And it's becoming totemic of a stand that certain Republicans are taking against the misrepresentation of facts, Fauci being emblematic of a scientific, rational approach. The president standing back up on the podium now, despite his advisors telling him not to do that, and declaring that he doesn't need to have those medical experts alongside him because he could do a much better job of translating the recommendations that they're making for how the country should handle the crisis.
Well, let's look at the numbers now, because we've got a Reuters poll out overnight. It's basically confirming what every other poll is saying at the moment. 46-38, 16 undecided. This is a clear lead to Joe Biden. No one's saying he's won it. Of course, it all depends on turnout on the day. But given how problematic things are right now for the economy, for the health situation, he's in the box seat, Joe Biden.
He is. Those polling numbers are consistent. The president was presented with them on the weekend in that interview with Chris Wallace and seemed a bit taken aback. He got the freshest figures from the Fox News poll and they showed him in a similar position. His approval ratings cratering, his primary support reducing significantly from where it was 4 years ago, and he's not picking up any new areas of support. So he is in a degree of trouble right now. And Biden, although not running the most electrifying campaign, certainly not nearly as electrifying as Kanye's campaign, he is looking like he will win if these trends continue.
And finally, James, before I let you go, August 1, we're hearing, is the date that Joe Biden will announce his running mate. And in this presidential race, it's taking on a whole more significance, isn't it, given the age of the candidate for the Democratic Party?
Well, if Joe Biden wins, he'll be 78 on the day he's inaugurated. He'd be almost 82 by the day he finishes his first term. So it's a very significant pick. The concentration seems to be on Kamala Harris, with someone like Tammy Duckworth as an outside choice. But this will be a very important appointment for him to make, not only in terms of the electoral science and which states it helps him to bring and which groups it helps him to bring, but really showing that he can have vitality, bring his on his ticket, bring his party together, both the progressive and the moderate wings, and have someone who can backstop him in case he can't perform as president. And that's a tough riddle to solve, but he's got a few good candidates to do it for him.